Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is dustinkreis, and today we have the final thoughts on Xenoblade Chronicles. 100 hours and 51 minutes later, I finally got to see the credits roll on this game, and long story short, this game is an absolute masterpiece. And whenever I eventually make my top 10 RPGs of all time, this is definitely going to be in that list. It might even crack the top 5. I will have to think about long and hard on that, because this game, for me, absolutely perfect. That's not to say that everything in the game is seamless, but the flaws that I have with the game, I can definitely overlook in lieu of what this game represents. And, you know, most of the people that watch my channel, most of you guys are RPG players, so I think you've already, you've heard about this game, you already know about this game, you've made up your mind on it, whether you've purchased it or not. For anybody out there who hasn't made up their mind about this, it doesn't matter what type of RPG you like. If you like JRPGs, buy this game. If you like Western RPGs, buy this game. This thing really straddles the fence extremely well between the two genres. And it's a nice bridge point for someone in the JRPG realm who wants to go to WRPGs. It has a lot of those elements to it while maintaining the JRPG-ness, and vice versa. For Western people, it has a lot of stuff for Western people, and it bridges them to JRPGs. I suppose I should say, what aspects of the game are very, for each genre. You have huge open world, for you Western RPG players, you have huge open worlds, tons and tons and tons and tons of side quests to do, tons of loot. I know a lot of people, with Diablo 3 coming out, a lot of people love these looting RPGs, and there's so much loot in this game, it's not even funny. For us JRPG people, it still has the extreme focus on story. I've never played a story that was this good. Well, I have. It's few and far between, though. Very rarely do you find a game of this scale that has this great of a storyline to it. Character development with the party, and your traditional, leveling up of experience points and allocating experience points and things like that. So, for both camps, Xenoblade Chronicles, it's a sure bet. If you play this game and you don't like it, and you like RPGs, period, I would ask you to please hand over your RPG player card, because it's mind-bogglingly, you know what I'm trying to say, amazing. I've done 2 videos on this now, so, final thoughts on, the gameplay. A lot of people have said the menus are not as intuitive as they would like. I agree with that. Every now and then I got hung up on bringing the menu up and then thinking it was down, trying to attack a monster, and ended up going into my inventory. Minor things, not a big deal. People have a problem with the fact that when items are dropped, you have to go over to the treasure chest and press A. And for some reason, I guess this adds an exorbitant amount of time to their gameplay, but I never noticed it to be a problem. I got to the point where I stopped picking up treasure chests because I didn't need the items, and it was just becoming a hassle for my inventory. Being only able to carry a certain number of items, of each type of item, gets a little hectic, because once you're looting, all the materials that you collect for various quests and stuff. It accumulates so fast, and you will go through those 10 pages of space very rapidly. So there are problems with the game, but for the most part, I love this game. I found the gameplay to be exactly what I wanted. The battle system is fun, and even, when you start getting over-leveled, it might lose some of its fun because, you know, you can just basically not have to do anything. You just let the game auto battle for you. But then you start going around and fighting those huge monsters that cause you so much problems in the beginning of the game. And that's really satisfying to finally go back to like the Bionis leg and kick the crap out of all those huge monsters that were roaming around. The graphics, you know, like I said, this is on the Wii. It's not HD, but I would be hard-pressed to find a more gorgeous game than this game this generation. Even though it's not in HD, the art design and the character design and just everything meshes so perfectly. The world design, you know, when have we ever seen a game world like this where you're basically traversing these two huge creatures? You know, Colony 6 is on the damn thing's thigh, for God's sake, you know? I mean, it's just such a crazy world. I've never seen anything like it in video games before. And, I mean, you have to take that into account when you think about these graphics and just how big the world is and how much they did with it. And the mere fact that it's running on the Wii, it really shows us what the Wii is capable of. And it's sad to, you know, see that in the final days of the system, but I guess it's better late than never. The music, of course, the music is amazing. Music is phenomenal. And yes, it took 4 composers to make that awesome music, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, just listening to that the final song that plays during the epilogue with the vocals, and I've listened to it on my CD numerous times, and it's never really affected me the way that it did after completing the game. So, again, the music, fantastic. Now, got all that stuff out of the way because I've talked about all that stuff before. What I have not talked about, and what I usually don't like talking about in these videos, is the storyline, because I want you guys to experience the storyline for yourself. But I feel like so many people have completed Xenoblade already, and it's the last thing that I really need to talk about. And so I'm going to talk about the storyline a little bit. Now, I'm not going to give you a complete plot synopsis, and there might be things that I forget because the story is just that huge. But I'm just going to talk about some of my favorite things in the storyline. And so the spoilers will start here. One of my favorite things in this game is it's a massive, huge game, but it never loses focus of its characters. You know, certain characters fall into the cliches. Dunban's the wise old warrior. You know, Ryan is the your typical "I'm always with you" buddy that goes with you on the journey. But one of the great aspects of this game was, for me, was Shulk and Fiora. And very early in the game, Fiora gets killed by the Mechon. And, you know, it sets the entire plot into motion. And, you know, Shulk's going out for revenge. He's going to destroy all of the Mechon because they took his... I don't know what the word is, but Fiora and Shulk are in love, but they just don't admit it to each other, that kind of thing. So he never got to admit his feelings for Fiora, so he's like out for blood. And through the course of the game, he's just tearing these things up whenever he finds them because, you know, they killed his woman, you know. So you get to a certain part of the game where you start fighting these faced Mechons. And I kind of saw this plot, you know, plot twist coming because, one, the game is created by Takahashi, who loves people piloting mechs. I mean, Xenogears, Xenosaga, they all have mechs in it being piloted. So the faced Mechon actually end up being piloted mechs that Halms that have been captured by the Mechonis, or the Mechon, I mean, are being turned into these faced Mechon. And one of them actually ends up being Fiora. But it goes a little further than that. The Fiora that you know from the beginning of the game is dead. Dead. Gone. The Fiora that's in this mech it's kind of like a RoboCop scenario, I guess. You know, Alex Murphy's dead, but in this machine lives basically the heart and soul of Alex Murphy. And in the same way, the Mechon have created a new mechanical body for Fiora. It has her face and everything. But this is not the Fiora that you knew from the beginning. And one of the best aspects of the game is that even though this has happened to Fiora, Shulk doesn't care. He's just happy to have his friend back, his love interest back. And all of them, you know, it'd be so easy to write this story to be like, ooh, can we trust her? Of course we can trust her. It's Fiora. You know, there's no question of it. But, you know, a lot of different ways to write the story would have been them to sort of have misgivings about her and stuff like that. But I love that they see her and they just instantly accept her back into the group. It really adds a nice touch of tragedy to the story because, well, until you get to the end. But, you know, because this entire time, Fiora's alluding to the fact that, you know, once this is all said and done, her body is no longer going to function. So, you know, throughout, you know, once you get her back in your party, which, when I got Fiora back in my party, I don't think I've ever been as excited in a video game before. Like, I was like, yes! Let's do this! But I really enjoyed Shulk and Fiora's aspect of the storyline. And then, of course, by the time you get to the end of the game, and, you know, throughout the storyline, you end up fighting, basically, the story starts off as this war between, you know, the Halms and the Mechon. But by the end of it, it does fall into that cliche of RPG storytelling, which is, we have to kill the god in order to free ourselves. And in doing so, Shulk becomes a god and gets to recreate the world how he wants it. And the ending of the game is just so perfect. It's from Fiora's point of view as she's walking around Colony 9. And she's meeting up with the people from the game. And then you get to the end where she's talking to Shulk. And it just slowly reveals the fact that she is back in her Halm's body, and they are able to continue their relationship on. And, you know, some people might bemoan that, and, you know, but, you know, Deus Ex Machina, blah, 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 but that's what the story's about, so, you know, and, you know, if they went the route with Fiora dying, then I could see, like, a Mass Effect 3 thing where people would be complaining about it and blah, 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 but I really enjoyed, the happy ending the game had. I also really enjoyed the sort of the politics of the Bionis. I like how the Halms basically live on the lower portion of the Bionis, and they're kind of the second-class citizens of the Bionis. You know, their technology is not as advanced, and they just kind of squeak by on this sort of industrial lifestyle, whereas like the Nalpan just seem to be removed from it at all because they live at one with nature, and they're always, you know, their town is inside of a tree. Makes sense because they're one with nature. And then you have the High Entia, who are like the rulers of the Bionis almost, and their technology is of course just out of this world. So I like the interplay between the three sentient species on the Bionis. I also like the fact that this entire time you're thinking that you're fighting on these dead gods, but what you find out is that the Bionis and the Mechonis itself are nothing more than huge mechs for these gods. Like, this is a very mech-heavy game, and I really didn't think it was going to be going into it. I knew there was going to be like robots and stuff like that because you're fighting the Mechon. But I didn't think that it was going to be another big mech game like Takahashi's previous games there. What else? What else was I really impressed with? The Monado itself. I really like the Monado. And if this game... God, it kind of sucks because this game is, 1, on the Wii. 2, it's... released during the Wii's end of the Wii's life cycle. It's a GameStop exclusive, so I feel like a lot of people are not going to go out and get this game. But for my taste, you know, people always talk about the Buster Sword. They always talk about the Gunblade. You know, they talk about all these great RPG weapons, and for my money, the Monado is like the best weapon out there. It's a sword, it's a lightsaber, it's a time travel device, it's everything wrapped up into one. I really enjoyed the Monado and the different Monados that you get. I like the looks of the swords and how they open up to release the energies and things like that. God, there was something else I wanted to talk about in this, and I can't remember now. It's slipping. Oh, didn't want to do that. Oh, sorry. I just watched Laggy Gamer's summer challenge video, and his summer backlog challenge video, and I accidentally restarted it. I didn't want the vocals to start going over this video, but gosh, I mean, this game is so huge and so vast that it really is hard to like talk about all the plot points in the storyline, especially when things start getting crazy towards the end. It stays pretty normal and kind of on an even keel until you get to like Prison Island, and Prison Island's where things really start to change in the game, where when you release the giant, and once you find out who Zanza truly is, and sort of the goings on of, oh shit, I remember what it is now. God damn it. Big spoiler here, guys. So you get towards the end of the game, and you're getting ready to fight Zanza, who is not the giant that you find on Prison Island. The giant has, or Zanza has taken over that giant and is controlling him. Zanza is actually a guy that looks a lot like Shulk. And, fuck, I lost it again. Anyway, you find out who he truly is, the god of the Mechonis, the controller of the, the Bionis, and the controller of the Bionis. And so you're off to fight him, and you have to go back to Prison Island to use a portal to get to the realm where Zanza is at. And I'm just going along in Prison Island, you know, fighting monsters, fighting Dixon, who betrays you in the storyline. And I go through that portal, and it whisks me off into this space area, okay? And we've been in the space area different times, because it's kind of Shulk's dream in a way. And the location marker chimes in, and it says location Saturn, and I'm like, what? And I start running along the path that you're supposed to run along, and I go to the next teleporter, and it teleports me to Jupiter. And I was like, oh no, where's this going? And then it teleports me to, of course, to Mars. Hold on a second, I gotta turn off the dehumidifier. Damn it! I always forget to turn that thing off before I make videos. Anyway, so then you head to Mars, and from Mars you go to the Moon, and then from Moon you find Earth. And the whole time I'm thinking, oh god, they're going to settle on Earth. They're going to move everybody to Earth, and that's going to be the story of our beginning. Not so. Earth is where the story actually began. Zanza and Manath were actually scientists in a space station orbiting Earth. They were trying to create a new universe. You know, kind of like what they're doing with the Super Hadron Collider and things like that. People think that, you know, if they speed those particles up enough, that they'll wipe our universe out and create a new one. And in this experiment that they do, it kind of goes haywire, destroys our universe, makes those two gods in this new universe, which is this planet, with these two huge bodies fighting each other. Really mind-blowing stuff. I really enjoyed, once it finally, you know, unraveled and told me that, really enjoyed that aspect of it. I love, you know, when these kind of crazy fantasy stories relate to our real world in some way. I really think that's, I really enjoyed that part of the storyline. And, you know, so, you know, you fight Zanza, you wipe him out, and you create a new, basically a new world using the old world, because when you look off in the distance, you can still see parts of the Bionis that are recognizable, but instead of it being, you know, vertical, it's all horizontal out in the ocean now. So, very nice stuff. But anyway, guys, I'm just going. If I continue to try to talk about the storyline, I'm just going to sit here and ramble, because it's hard to remember the entire storyline, you know, and talk about it like this on video. But it's definitely something you guys should experience. And hopefully, if you've watched me talk about all this stuff, you have experienced it and didn't spoil yourself for it. But like I said, this is an RPG for the ages. I really think that in you know, a few years' time, people are going to look back on this and want this game, because it'll definitely get a cult following, and people will, you know, seek out Wii's, and you know, it's going to be playable in the Wii U, so people are definitely going to seek it out because of the Wii U. So, man, game of the year, easy, easy. Still got to play Tales of Grace's F. We'll see how it stacks up against this, but man, Tales of Grace's F has a tough road ahead of it, because for me, this is a masterpiece, top to bottom, and I'm so happy that Nintendo brought it out. I'm so happy with the efforts of Operation Rainfall, because if this didn't come out in America, I would have to import a PAL-Wii and do all that, you know, to play this game, because I was not going to miss out on this, and I'm so glad that I got to experience it. And I'm actually kind of bittersweet. I'm actually, you know, it's bittersweet to put it back up on the shelf, because I really love this world, and I love the characters. And when I beat the game and I saved that New Game Plus save, I knew that I know that, you know, like maybe 4 or 5 years time, I will return and play that New Game Plus and experience this game again, because it's just mind-blowingly good. Just a fantastic, fantastic game. Definitely the best RPG of this generation, and definitely, if not the best, one of the best games this generation overall. Just fantastic. Fantastic stuff, guys. So, that is it for Xenoblade. It's been a long road with this game. I've made a lot of videos talking about how much I wanted it over here. I've done 2 prior game discussions to it, and this is the final thoughts. So, hopefully I won't mention Xenoblade again until I do my sort of top of 2012 video. But yeah, guys, if you don't have it, go get it. And if you do have it, cherish it. So, that's all for me right now. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.